Ah, hello. We're continuing to read from Race Woman. I'm sorry about the lighting, but I'm coming to you from a place with bad lighting, and I don't have stable housing because I'm not getting the support that I need from um, you all. So if you can like and share and support any way you can, that would be appreciated. I have a lot of links underneath in these videos. Support any one of them. But until then, we have to bear with low light. And remember, you get what you pay for. Graham's new job meant not only increased income but also increased distance from her creditors. She was also further away from her sons and mother, but by now this woman in her mid 40s was accustomed to moving frequently, with all the dislocation and excitement it entailed. Her job as director of Negro work brought more money and responsibility and consequently justified leaving Indiana. Race relations in the West were problematic. One of the larger nearby outposts, Las Vegas, which was the process of acquiring the glitter that would make it a global symbol of hedonism, was marked cruelly by Jim Crow. In the 1930s, the mobsters invaded, the authorities clamped down on the black variety, but city officials did not maintain the same vigilance over their white counterparts. The Ku Klux Klan was there. Its aggressions against African Americans included flogging and running them out of town. Yet, because the stereotype persisted that those of African descent could withstand the draining heat better, blacks continued to be attracted to the city during the war. Though many of the new arrivals found Las Vegas racism worse than what they had experienced in the South. There was a major riot in 1944, and for a long period of time, black entertainers at the resort hotels could not even stay at the hotels where they played. I find, yeah, racism in the North is just is a different kind. In some ways, it's worse. In some ways, it's better. I guess I don't know. But as we know, racism is gonna die, or we all will. It's your choice. I know we've made our choices. I should say it's their choice. If you're watching this, you probably made the choice that it's foolish and you have grown beyond it, although you live in a society that's fighting to keep it. In 1942, the U.S. Army decided to create the U.S. 93rd Infantry Division by combining the 25th and 368th and 369th Regiments with various field companies and battalions. Fort Huachuca had been home to the 10th Cavalry when it patrolled the U.S.-Mexican border in World War One. By December of 1942, the 32nd and 33rd Companies of the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps had joined the men on the 93rd of the 93rd in the desert. There were 15,000 black enlisted men and 600 black officers at Fort Huachuca. The 300 black women who made up the two companies at Fort Huachuca had their own mess, a large recreation area and barracks area. In their off-duty hours, the women had access to the theater, service clubs, social activities, and recreational centers on the post, including the basketball court. At Fort Huachuca, the women served as typists, stenographers, and clerks. They drove vehicles and served as chauffeurs, messengers, telephone operators, and librarians. That's interesting. They were chauffeurs. They operated the theaters and the service clubs. They were medical, laboratory, and surgical technicians, physical therapists, and ward attendants. Some were even employed in light motor vehicle maintenance. There were no jobs or positions off limits to them except those prescribed for all wax. WACs. Um, Fort Huachuca was no easy assignment for women, one female member of the U.S. military there recalled. Strange weather in February. In the morning, we put on full winter uniform and with overcoat. By 11, the overcoat was off, and by 2 in the afternoon, we shed the uniform jackets. Then the process was reversed, so that by 10 in the evening, if one happened to be out of doors, the overcoat was needed. My lasting impression of the post was that it was large and desolate, so completely surrounded by mountains that I was puzzled as to how we got into the valley. The discomfort caused by this strange weather was minor compared to the rampant sexual harassment the women were subjected to. When Charity Adams Early first traveled there by train, as we expected on the first night, some men, apparently intoxicated, attempted to break into our compartments. Race relations at Fort Huachuca were extremely tense. The future black businessman Dempsey Travis recalled that the segregation there was demoralizing. Here these soldiers were being instructed that they were fighting a war abroad against intolerance and bigotry, yet they were being subjected to the same thing at home. Such strains eventually were to force the nation to erode Jim Crow, but this prospect seemed far away in Arizona in the early 1940s. Edward Soulds, a black lieutenant at Fort Huachuca, noticed that a white captain rarely spoke to minority soldiers. Soulds asked why and was told that this officer would be compromising his dignity to work with niggers, that he hated them, didn't want to eat with them, or talk to them, or anything else. Furthermore, he would only do what he absolutely had to since he was in the army. Such rancid attitudes were resented deeply by African Americans. One unnamed black soldier complained that the colored officers are fed up. They know that they are not being treated fairly, but there is nothing they can do. Whenever they go over bounds, they are simply reclassified. Though we have some brilliant Negro officers, they are never promoted. Some of these officers hold degrees from the nation's outstanding universities, while white officers from Fort Benning are ignorant as the days are long. Morale is at a low and ebb as in a whorehouse. Nobody gives a damn about what happens. Unless something is done, there will be an internal revolution. The black General Benjamin O. Davis was sent there to investigate, but he was dismissed by some African Americans as a military figurehead. Yet, people keep, black people keep pushing their children into the military. This blows my mind. Blows my mind. Another thing that blows my mind about us. Um, it seems like it's just an easy way for us to send our children to something that might give them a little something instead of fighting for the political and social space that they need in our society. And I would never promote a young black person going to the military. Never, ever, ever, ever. And I have family members that's in there, and I respect their choice because we're all free to make the choice, but I would never promote it. I would never encourage it. And I don't care what it gives you. I don't care what VA loans it gives you. I don't care what money it gives you. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Because maintaining imperial power over peoples around the world and keeping communities impoverished is too high price to pay on us. Um, it's too high of a price, and it doesn't even out when you get a VA loan or a VA this or VA that. It just doesn't. So that's my view on it. Until next time, try to stay safe. Try to stay sane.